sitting listening to his introduction, I thought, who the heck's he talking about? It certainly wasn't written by my wife, I can tell you that. Awesome, great to be here with you today, and it's certainly an honour to be here with you, Larry, and to share with us this conference. What I'm going to do for just that very short time, look, you're down the back going, where the hell is he? Look, I can see you going. I'm sitting down here in my wheelchair, and obviously, as Simon says, I don't have any legs. And it was interesting when I was asked to be here. I said, look, I'm going to be in my chair. Not everybody's going to be able to see me. I said, Larry, can you sort of organise a bit of a raised stage or something like that? And he said, no problem at all, I'll fix it. I came in the door and he's gone and stuck a bloody trestle up. Good on you, mate. I'm going to jump out a bit here. He does actually know I can do this because I did it the other day. Except when I did that, my pants fell off. Well, you probably didn't really need to know that. Look at the things, eh? Occupation, safety and health approved, I'm sure. Yeah, right. Here we go. I lost my footing. Much better. This is great. I feel like Humpty Dumpty sitting up here. We all know what happened to him, don't we? As I said, Larry, it is certainly a pleasure, and thank you for allowing me to be here. And what I am going to do is just share with you some of my story. You see, I believe that we all have a story in our lives. What I can tell you today is that I was run over by a train when I was 9 years old. I can remember that day like it was yesterday. I can remember pleading with my mum to let me go with my good friend Gary and his dad to the local railway yards where they were bagging coal for a community project. You know, I can still remember the reluctance of my mum's voice when she let me go. I remember walking across the tracks with Gary to get some more sacks to be filled. As we walked back, the two 40-tonne wagons shunted. It's dragged underneath. The next thing I can remember is looking up. Gary's father was leaning over me. He was screaming and crying. I remember going in the ambulance to the Tauranga Hospital. Mum and Dad were at the emergency room doors, and I looked up and I said, I'm sorry, Mum, but I'll be okay. I woke up 6 days later in intensive care. Mum and Dad were sitting at the end of the bed. I had this really terrible itch in my foot, and I went to scratch it. And that was when they told me that those feet weren't there anymore. Believe me, I can remember that day like it was yesterday. I know many able-bodied people that are far more disabled than I'll ever be. Why? Because of their attitudes. Because of their attitudes to their lives, to their families, to their friends, to their work, to their country. What are attitudes? I believe attitudes are habits of thought. The way we think about things. If our habits of thought are unenthusiastic with a lack of desire, it's reflected in our attitude. If our habits of thought are enthusiastic with a desire to succeed, accept the challenges that life throws at us, that's reflected in our attitude. I believe in my heart that it's our attitudes which determine our level of success in life. You see, in my life I'm inspired. In my life I'm inspired by achievements I've seen of people far worse off than I am. I've seen Olympic blind runners do the 100 metres fractions of a second slower than a world able-bodied record. I've seen Olympic high jumpers with one leg jumping centimetres less than the world able-bodied record. Believe me, success is a journey. It's something we strive and achieve every day of our lives. Tell you what, if I had $1 for every time I was told I couldn't do something, I'd be a billionaire today. I believe when we're born, we don't know can't, wouldn't, shouldn't, couldn't, get real, and don't waste your time. We're taught all of those things by other people. It's up to us to decide whether we believe that or not. People's perception, isn't it?
That's right.
Let's think about people's perception. Because look, we're in a world where we judge people, aren't we? We're in a world where we put people in boxes. Because you know what you're going to get? Oh, you're with the Kiwi party, aren't you? So we'll stick you in a box. You're one of those disabled people, so we'll stick you in a box over there. Oh, Larry, you're the leader, so we're going to stick you in another box over here. We are in a world where we judge people, rather than allow ourselves to go out, share our passion, our belief, and simply be the best. People's perception. We're in a world where we're told if you're not a winner, you're a loser. And that if you're not a success, you're a failure, especially in New Zealand, aren't we? Look, for me to be here to simply share some of my story, but each and every one of you would have an extraordinary story. For you to take the time out of your busy lives to come away to this conference to share your passion. Communication, it comes in so many different ways. Larry and I have had a bit of a relationship on and off for many years. My daughter went to school with Larry's daughter, and they've kept in touch over the years. And when we first talked a little while ago, he said, he was just, I think he was joking at the time, he said, would you mind standing as a delegate? And I said, well, I'd probably rather sit as an MP, but never mind. When I say I'm fortunate to be here, I also mean it from the point of view that all those years ago when I had this accident, many people didn't survive the horrific injuries that I had. Look, we're in a world today where we glue people back together and we call it quality of life. Many people didn't survive those injuries. The doctors came up to my parents. They said, Mr. and Mrs. Christensen, we're so sorry to have to tell you, Tony will either spend the rest of his life in a hospital and a home. He may not even live past the age of 20 years old. The pressures of life with these horrific injuries will be so great. Obviously that really upset my mum. I got past the age of 20 years old. They sent me to a psychiatrist. I was in there for 3 hours with that man. It took me that long to straighten him out. Man, leave some hang-ups. Life treats us all in different ways. People think because I don't have any legs, my life must suck. You see, it is all about attitude. You don't buy it. You don't get up in the morning thinking, oh, geez, I've got to do this and I've got to do that and I've got to go, oh, I know what I'll do. I'll go to the chemist shop in the morning, I'll go and buy a box of Attitude, here's 20 bucks. I know what I'll do, things aren't going well, I'll go and buy a box of Motivation, here's another $20. You don't buy them. Well, they're probably a legal drug or something like that, I don't know. It's right here. Each and every one of us in this room, in this country have it. Our challenge is, how do we bring it out? I am inspired. I'm inspired by the challenges of many in this world. Most of us have no idea what we can achieve in our lives. We're in a world where we're told no, can't, wouldn't, shouldn't, couldn't. Giving up was never an option in my life. I have 2 plaques on my office wall. One reads, no is not an option. The other one reads, can't is not an option. Believe me, that's attitude and you don't buy it. It's right here. Our challenge is, how do we bring it out and share it? So once again, I'd like to thank you for having me here, Larry, for the opportunity to be here, and as I said, simply share my story. Each and every one of you have an extraordinary story. Your challenge is, how do you share it? I think we have an opportunity today to make a change and make a choice. And you know what? It's going to cost you nothing. Absolutely nothing. The great Henry Ford once said, think you can, you will. Think you can't, you won't, but hey, either way, you're probably right. Thank you very much for your time.